All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about one of the most intense, high-stakes tech races happening on the planet right now. China's absolutely explosive push into robotics. And look, this isn't just about building a few cool machines. This is a full-blown national mission to automate everything, to innovate faster than anyone else, and ultimately to lead the world. We're going to break down who the key players are, the massive government strategy driving it all, and the critical hurdles that could, maybe, stop it in its tracks.
And just to give you a sense of the insane speed we're talking about, get this, just 1 year ago, China had about 18 companies working on humanoid robots. Today, there are over 80. That's not just growth, that's an explosion. It's a gold rush. It tells you that this has gone from a few science experiments in the lab to a brutally competitive commercial industry almost overnight.
So yeah, that's exactly where we're going to start, with the humanoid robot race. This is the super futuristic sci-fi part of the story where stuff you've only seen in movies is starting to become a reality on the factory floor.
This whole boom really came to a head at the World AI Conference in Shanghai. It wasn't just a handful of companies anymore. All of a sudden, we were seeing robots that weren't just, clumsily walking around. They were actually doing things, sorting parts, prepping food, even responding to spoken commands. This was a huge turning point. This was the moment these machines really stepped out of the lab and into the real world.
So who are the big names in this fight? Well, let's look at two totally different game plans. On one hand, you've got UBTech's Walker S2. Think of this as the high-end industrial champion. It's built for 24/7 factory work, and it's so advanced it can even swap out its own battery. Wild. But then on the other side, you've got the disruptor, Unitree's R1. This thing costs less than $6,000. It can literally do a backflip, and it's already grabbing a huge chunk of global sales. It really shows you the two ways this battle is being fought. The premium workhorse versus the affordable, agile machine for the masses.
But trust me, it is far from a two-horse race. The field is just packed with specialists now. You've got Shanghai Electric's Suyuan, a beast built for logistics with an incredible amount of onboard AI. We're talking 275 trillion calculations per second. Then there's something totally different. Fourier's GR3, a robot designed specifically for elder care focused on emotional interaction. And then, get this, you have the Tiancong Ultra, an actual robot athlete that won the world's first ever humanoid robot half marathon. The range of applications is just diversifying at a dizzying pace.
Okay, so what is fueling all of this? I mean, a boom this big and this fast doesn't just happen on its own. It's basically a rocket being pushed by two massive engines at the same time. A very deliberate national strategy and huge leaps forward in artificial intelligence. And this really all comes down to a clear, three-step playbook from the government. Step 1, the Robot Plus plan, which is basically about integrating robots into every single industry you can think of. Step 2, the AI Plus initiative, to make all those robots and everything else smarter. And then, Step 3, the big one, backing the whole thing up with a ton of money.
And when we say a ton of money, we are not kidding. A state-backed fund is aiming to pull together almost 1 trillion yuan. That's about 140 billion US dollars. Let that sink in. That's money aimed squarely at robotics and AI. That kind of cash isn't just an investment, it's a statement. It's the government shouting from the rooftops that this is the future, and they are all in.
So all this money, all this policy, it's all funneling toward cracking one key concept: embodied intelligence. Think of it like this. You can have the smartest AI in the world, but if it's stuck in a computer, it can't learn about the physical world. Embodied intelligence is about giving that AI a body so it can see, touch, and interact. So it can learn by doing, just like we do. This is the secret sauce to creating robots that can actually adapt and think on their feet.
Now, humanoids are flashy. They get all the headlines, right? But the real story, the foundation that all of this is built on, started somewhere else. It was built on the factory floor, with an absolute army of industrial robotic arms that are already changing everything.
This chart on robot density, which is just the number of robots for every 10,000 workers, it tells a pretty incredible story. Sure, South Korea is still the leader, way up there, but just look at China's trajectory. They've already blown past a manufacturing giant like Germany. They're automating at a pace the world has literally never seen before. This massive scale is the bedrock of their entire robotics push. And if that chart isn't enough, just chew on this fact for a second. For over 10 years, China has been the biggest market for industrial robots in the world.
More than half of every single new industrial robot installed anywhere on Earth is installed in China. That's not just leading, that's absolute staggering dominance.
So why the crazy surge? Well, it's really a perfect storm. You've got a practical need, labor costs are going up, and the workforce is actually shrinking. Then you have the government's Made in China 2025 strategy creating a massive push. And the final, crucial piece of the puzzle, the arrival of cheaper, safer cobots, robots that can work right alongside people, which finally makes automation a real option for smaller businesses, not just giant corporations.
Okay, so it all sounds like an unstoppable freight train, right? Well, not so fast, because this race is full of obstacles, and China is facing some massive, massive hurdles on its way to the top, from relying on foreign tech to some pretty brutal competition at home.
In China, they have this incredibly vivid phrase for their biggest challenge, ka boazi. It literally translates to neck squeezing, and it perfectly captures this deep-seated fear of being vulnerable, of relying on other countries for the absolute core components you need to build the future. It's their technological Achilles heel.
And here's exactly where that neck-squeezing problem hits. First, the brains of the robot, the high-performance AI chips. Many of those are subject to U.S. export controls. Then, the joints, the super-precise gears called reducers that allow for smooth, nimble movement. They still have to import most of the best ones. And finally, the robot's cerebellum, the complex motion control software. A lot of the cutting-edge stuff is still foreign-owned tech.
And it's not just about what they can't get from other countries. They've got hurdles at home, too. These advanced robots are still really expensive to build. There's a major shortage of people with the skills to design and program them. Plus, the domestic market is so hyper-competitive, it's led to these vicious price wars, a phenomenon they call involution, where everyone is just racing to the bottom, crushing profits, and stifling any real innovation. So, with all that in mind, what does this all mean for the future? Let's zoom out to the big picture here, because this race is now expanding way beyond the factory floor. It's moving into our daily lives, and the global stakes have never been higher. And this, right here, is the crucial shift. For the first time ever, the money being made from service robots, the ones in our warehouses or hospitals or hotels, has officially surpassed the money from industrial robots in China. The focus has changed. The next phase of this revolution isn't coming, it's already here.
So, what are the three big things you should walk away with? First, China is fighting this war on two fronts. They're cementing their dominance in the industrial robots of today while sprinting to win the humanoid race of tomorrow. Second, none of this is happening by accident. It is being fueled by a huge, coordinated national plan with a fire hose of cash behind it. And third, their biggest weakness, that neck-squeezing problem, is the one to watch. Their entire ambition hinges on overcoming this dependency on foreign tech.
Which leaves us with one final, huge question. This whole thing isn't just about one country's industrial policy. This is about a global transformation that is going to redefine how we work, how we live, everything. The race is well and truly on. The only question left is, who's going to be the architect of our new robotic future?